Alright, so here we have the Keurig, I think it's a 155 brewer, and I've had it here for a little while. It was broke. It used to be a unit from work that they're going to throw out, and I figured I'll take it apart, maybe use some parts for it, but first what I'll do is I'll try to fix it and record it so those out there can try to fix it themselves. So I just turned it on here, and you can hear it's got this weird clicking sound, the microphone up to it. It's got this weird clicking sound, and it doesn't do anything. If you try to turn it on in the back, that's what you get, is a clicking sound. If you turn it off, hold the switch down, it should stop clicking, I think. No, I think it just clicks all the time once you plug it in. So I guess we'll go through the different steps and take it all apart. I saw some stuff online about capacitors being an issue in the past. We'll see if we can find those capacitors inside and see what we got going on here. So I guess let's start taking it apart. First we'll plug the power to it. I'll try to get this camera in a position where it's easy to see what I'm doing here. First I'm going to remove some of the ancillary stuff that we don't need. That. This is the container here for the water. It should just come off. Alright, so we're going to, these little caps, if you want to try to save them, you can. These little caps, I'm going to have to pull off because they've got screws behind them. It's very fancy of Keurig to do that, so you couldn't easily get the back cover off, I guess, and look inside the unit without doing a little bit of damage. I don't really care what the back of the unit looks like, to be honest, so I'm going to try to find the one that I've been using. There you go. There's another one down. Probably not going to put those back in. I don't want to deal with prying. Let's go right into the center of this cap. There you go. Well, that's a lot easier. Two. Guess I should have just done that from the beginning. Alright, let's take the screws out. Let's take this back cover off here. See if there's anything inside there I need to worry about. Just the hoses and then the connection. So, just probably in case it overfills or something. No caps probably to clean the system or attach maybe to another tank back here for a different attachment. It's actually quite a strain line, so I'm going to drain it for 2 quarts, make sure there's no water in it. Still should be enough in there anyways. That's it for screws. Alright, let's get this guy out here. One of the easiest things to get off. There's a little screws on here. Probably the easiest thing to do is to just use a little flathead to kind of free it up a little bit. Like that. There's no water in there. No. Okay. Let's try the same thing on this one. Just helps break the seal. See if there's any water in there. Looks like there is some water in there. Alright. Okay. T15 Torx. Let's get that out. This one out. Take the handle. metal handle here. Okay. I didn't get it too far, because I gotta lower this. I just gotta get this all apart over here to get that out, the handle out. Another one of these fancy little cap screws over here. I'll try to save these ones so that they're not. You know what? Okay. Phillips head here. Okay. Let's see here. Alright, I'll clean that all out too. Get it out. I'll put these screws back into here, because if we don't put them back in places where we take them out, we'll get them all mixed up. So that's back there. That's out of there. See if we can get this thing apart here or not yet. Probably not yet. Alright, so what I'm doing here is I'm carefully getting inside here. I was trying this way, like this. It seems to have released most of what was holding this part on. Of course, I haven't released from the top yet. I guess if this has this side cover. Remove these screws. I don't think they're made for an attachment, but who knows. Let's pull them up anyways. Seems like it's got some movement here. It definitely holding the top in place. Sometimes there's hidden screws, but I'm feeling behind the labels here. I'm going to go to the bottom and check down there. I guess we could take all these screws off and see what we have here at the very bottom. And see how many of these screws are all different lengths, different types, and see we got a mixture of Torx and Phillips and a little bit of everything. Take the pads off. But you know what? I'm going to leave the pads on because I got a feeling that they're not actually holding anything anyways. But most of the screws are these ones. If they're all the same size. Be nice if they were, but of course they're not. That guy in might be different. I think these are the ones outside that really hold it. Everything together. They're all different size screws. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a towel. I'm going to mark where the screws go. At least put them in place. There we go. Alright. Let's put this guy up here so we can see. See, we got some kind of a transistor or something here for the high current, probably to turn everything on and off. That's attached here to the ground. It's really important that that's secured because that's the heat's gonna go into here when that thing is running. Inside here we have some components for the pump, some heating element stuff inside here. I think there's a little screw hidden right up inside of here. It's probably holding that whole side cover on. So let's pull that guy off. right there. That one was probably holding this side cover in place. At least helping holding it in place. Let's see. You know? Oh, there's some movement. And actually another screw in here. That's why it's important not to pry. And keep prying and end up damaging something. So get that off. Pry a little bit and then see what you get. If it moves or not. Oh, so it looks like that whole cover is coming off with those screws. It's like a little pin. There. I can't get this to separate quite yet. Oh, there we go. Flashlight. Let's see if there's any other erasers. I kind of feel like this needs to slide down in a way. Oh, there we go. I think it's slowly coming apart here. Hold this top. There's actually little side tabs here too that seem to hold this in. Like a Jenga puzzle. Up on top. It seems like this top has to come back. You just slide back, but it's not really doing that. What I'm essentially doing is I'm trying to push this top part in so that I can lift this off. Because there's actually there's some blocks inside of here. It looked like the whole assembly should slide back, but I can't get it to slide back. Either there's screws or something in the faceplate here, and I just can't get the faceplate off, or let's try it this way. There we go. Let's see what we got over here. Maybe something here. Let's see. There we go. So essentially, I'm pushing the black plastic back to try to get this separated away from it. Oh, there we go. Somewhere. All right. Let's see what we got now. Oh, we already did that that was. Once you get the right pieces off. Yeah, see, these have the slide. This whole cover has to slide back in order to get the cover off over here. So that's off. Front's off. I guess try to find a way to put this back down temporarily. It's not going. I'm going to lay it down on its side. Now that I got this off. Alright, let's do that. The power switch looks like. Right now. The last part is that this side cover fall off here. Now I think we'll be able to really see. See that? They're just all these crazy little clips they got in here. You know, so this cover goes this way. The other cover, once you get the face loose, that cover comes off, and this cover comes up, and then you can remove everything from here. So I think with that, all right. So got the cover off. I took this little electrical box cover off of here. Actually, went that way. It was screwed here and here. And then so remove that, and there's a couple of tabs to remove the cover. And then with the cover off of the circuit board, these are the two capacitors that I saw online that they say bulge out, and they actually look like they did bulge out, so they may be bad. That's probably what I'm going to try to change first, but I'm going to plug it back in again and just show you what's making the noise. Alright, so we have it's plugged in, and you can hear the clicking. It's actually coming from the little solenoid valves up here to control the flow of water. I'm not quite sure why they click. Maybe they're being energized and the circuit board's being overloaded or something because of the capacitors. But I found that this one is actually one of the solenoids, and you can hear the other one is still clicking. So that's a solenoid, and then there's one up here that's the other solenoid. So those are for the two solenoids that are up here that was causing the clicking. Still don't have, even with the clicking stopped, I have nothing on the screen. The power isn't on. In fact, I had the power button itself is still attached to the back cover, which I took off. And the camera head went dead on me. So the switch, where I put it someplace over here. So the switch is in the back cover here. So I can try now the solenoid valves are unplugged. You can try to turn it on, I guess. Plug it in there, just to see if it does anything different. I don't suspect it's going to. So to that. See if the screen shows anything. No, the screen's still dead. Alright, so the next steps is unplug the power. Okay, that's off. And then what I'm going to have to do is take the circuit board off, and then we'll desolder those capacitors, and we'll see if I have some new ones here, and put some new ones on and see if that fixes the problem. Obviously, the circuit board will have to fix some of these connections are actually soldered on here permanently. So I guess what I'm going to do is we'll remove the board and move it down here so I can desolder these two capacitors, and then we can measure them and see what their readings are, and we'll be able to go from there. So let's remove. I think that should be enough to move it down. So let's take this off. Looks like that's all I needed to come loose over here. This out of the way. Let's see if we can get this to come all the way down. Move the board out away like that. Let's see if that's enough to allow us to fix. There's a pressure switch here, which is attached on the inside with a wire tie. So I'm going to have to cut that off, I think. So the back of this board, probably see it. there's like a little rubber hose. You see that rubber hose? We don't want to pull that off. But on the other side here, that rubber hose actually goes to here. I'm going to cut this off, and then we'll be able to disconnect the hose. I'm just going to carefully cut that wire tie, because I can easily put a new one on there. Make that stay attached. I want to carefully pull that off. I mean, it's very good quality silicone hose on here, so that's a plus. Right. And that hose is off. So see, we want to keep this attached here. So the last step is going to be to remove the capacitors. Can't get the board completely off of here. I got to kind of work on it from the back side, so hopefully you'll be able to see I have a desolder iron here. Real old school, where you push the bulb in, and then when the solder melts, you do this, and it sucks the solder up into here. The other trick is actually put fresh solder on there from a good solder iron. Resolder the joint here, and I'll remove it. So that'll help there. Same thing on this one, so I know I got some fresh solder. So what I'm doing, now that I got most of the solder away from here, is I'm actually heating up a leg, and then I'm tipping the capacitor, heating up the other leg, pad here, and then see you pull it out. So just kind of rocking it back and forth as I pull it out. That's that one. Now it's the same thing here, so we'll heat up the leg. See if it doesn't want to hot, put a little bit of solder on your tip. That'll help conduct the heat into the capacitor leg. And we'll just rock it back and forth. There we go, like that. Alright, now, I think that really comes in handy to heat up the pad, and then make sure that there's a hole there. So I can put the new capacitor back in. I got fresh holes. Putting the capacitors in, which I happen to have. They're actually a little bit bigger, but I think they'll work. They're the right rating. They're 1,000 microfarads. So 1,000 microfarads right here. It's actually 35 volts. This one's 1,000 microfarads, 35 volts. The other one was actually 25 volts, which I don't know why one's 35 and one's 25, but whatever. So I'm going to put this into here. Okay, and that fits there. So that one's going to go like that. As I was saying before, it's really important that you get the negative side. So right here, that's the negative. So this is the negative lead over here. This one right here. It's really important that you get those lined up and put back in the same place they're supposed to be. That's that one. And then we're going to do the same thing with this. Slide it in. Okay. Okay, and then we'll move those legs out a little bit. And we will solder them in place. A little overkill for angle cutters, but clip that off, clip that off, clip that off. Okay. carefully put this hose back in here. Okay, one more. Turn these back in place. All right, so all my connections are in. Plugs are all in. Capacitors and capacitors. So put the screws on for the circuit board at least, so it's not moving around. Before we turn it back on to see if it works. Let's put the power switch on, see if we can turn this thing on. Push power, and we have power. Yep, we now have power. So everything should be working. So I guess what we'll do is we'll unplug it, and then we will clean up a little bit, and then I will start recording to put the assembly, put it all back together again. Let's start with the first things first before I forget, and I don't want you to forget when you put it back together. There's this little tiny hose in the back here that needs to be reattached. Not reattached, but it needs to go right here. Like that. Reattach them here. 4 tools there. Alright. You can see that goes right up to here. And then we have to put a wire tie on so it doesn't pop off under pressure. Wire tie here. Blue. So let's put this in here. Blue wire tie. Okay. Slide that right up. Tight against there. Alright. Now, okay, it won't come off. Very important we got that out of the way, because that would have been a problem if we forgot to do that. So, as far as the top and everything goes, there are no screws necessarily that hold this piece on. It just kind of snaps into place. So we're going to put that on last. So let's try to reassemble this in a way that makes a little more sense than when I took it apart. Because when I took it apart, I think I might have went the hard way. So first we're going to put the electrical cover back on here. Make sure this is all covered up. So this goes on like this. Make sure all the wires are in place with one. Alright, over there. This has to put it in place. That's in there. See the pin for that? Alright. That covers in place. And then we will put screws back on. 2 screws. One here. Big one here. Okay. So you can see the bottom where I took some screws out of the bottom. The bottom plate actually didn't go into the side cover. It didn't hold the side cover on at all. Matter of fact, I thought it did, but it really didn't. It holds this frame in place. So we're going to put the bottom together first here, and then we'll put the sides and the front on after I fix this. So that's where it was. So the cover that goes on the side of the unit here actually has a screw hole right here. That's the missing screw hole. So I'm going to have to put this side cover on before I can do the next step, which is okay. Now we just know you need to take the screw, you got to take all this apart just to get this side cover off. So let's put this down. Now let's put this side cover over here. These tabs here and these here have to slide down, but these tabs and this tab, they don't slide down, they pop into place. It almost has to be installed like this to slide down and then allow it to snap back into place. Really odd design. Because I didn't think it was anyone to take apart, so I went with that. So now that piece is actually broke, so that's not going to get away here. So we're going to try to get the back to the holes up at the top. That's in there. This is going to be the hardest part of the whole thing. Probably run my battery out just trying to get this cover on. I'm going to try it a bunch more times and then I'm going to come back after I get the cover on. So after a little bit more aggravation, finally got the cover on, and it's nice and flat now and installed. And I can put the screw in. One screw that screw up here. Alright, that screw in, and that will secure the side cover here. So that side cover will come off, and then let's put the bottom cover back on. So the drain is installed, all the screws hidden inside here are now installed. Now let's put the bottom cover on. Like I said, I had set the screws up in the pattern that you see here, so I knew where they went. That's the back of the unit, that's the front of the unit. So this is the bottom one right here. No, this is the next one up here, which is actually different than the right one. And then this next one up here. Just secure that in place. And the very top one. And then goes the top. And the over here. And then the last one. Alright, next step. Let's get this out. See the back of the unit. Important things here is that we have our drain hoses. We're going to put the cover back on. See the boiler unit in here. The hoses, everything all looks good in here. I have a little connection for the, I guess them to do their diagnostics, whatever, your power plug connection. And then there's a sensor that goes here. It goes onto the end cover. It's a level sensor for the water, I believe. This cover looks like it slides on this way. So I think what I'm going to first do is I have to get the water hoses to come through the end over here. And then they'll clip into the back of this plug. And then the same thing with this guy here. This plug will also just clip into the back. And then the sensor will attach. It goes in, two wires go into here, and then the sensor just sits in the holder on this side when it goes to get reinstalled. So, and then we should be able to, with all that in place, we should be able to just snap this cover on. Looks like the top has these fingers to lock into place, and you can see the very top cover up here, which you can't see yet. I'll show you when we get to the top part. That will just clip together with the, all snap together the plastic on the very top. So it really lifts up. In our case, we're gonna pry it down to get it on there. Okay. All right, so let's go. This hose, just put the water here, goes through. The cap back on the end, just the water back to it. Okay. So this is the water hose. This got some flexibility, so I'll put that on first. That's the connection. Here, you can't have that's easy to tell you now, so just keep that in mind. Now let's have to get it lined up straight on. There we go. Port. And then the sensor. Actually, just a diagnostic plug. Or a little power plug for the to control that water fill. You know, water fill tank over here. Which that does. I think that's there. Then the power switch. Make sure we reconnect that, otherwise it won't work. Okay. So all the connections are there. Pull this hose. Green hose. That's a little harder to clip into place, but I think if I use a long screwdriver down through the top, I can press it into place. So screwdriver, no, but there's a longer pliers. That should definitely work. Yes. Easier to do that on yourself. Probably get it, those are pretty fast. Easiest thing to do. Halfway locked in. All right. That's all locked in. Now comes the fun part, getting this top cover to line up. So wiring is all in place. All right, got that there. Okay. All right, let's go there. Once screws are placed, top cover should just snap in place. Let's get to the front here. Let's put my screws back together. This is about one, so I make sure I didn't lose or misplace any screws. That goes in here. This one goes in here. Here. Everything's coming together nice and straight, you can see. And the edges are going nice and tight. They're in place. All right. So put that drain valve in there. Put this drain valve in here. Goes up top here. All right, got that in place. That's in place. I guess we'll put this cover back on here. There we go. So that's that. Now let's roll around to the front here. So first things first, I'm going to run in. I'm going to clean this, wash all this out because we already got it apart, and I'd hate to put this back together with everything already apart. Looks like this can just kind of come off. Yeah, okay, that's good. So that just comes off. So I'm going to bring all this inside and wash it up and go from there. And then we'll come back out. We'll take a look with everything all, all the stuff removed. I'll blow it out with a little blower and stuff. Make sure everything else is clean. And then we'll reassemble. Be careful about all the little plastic bushings. I just dropped everywhere. There's these two little bushings on the side here. So I guess you remove those. So that this way we don't lose them at the moment. We've got to make sure we put them back so that the cup holder fits in there correctly. So this should actually come right out and everything. So I'm going to clean all this up. Alright, so we're back on the last little bit of reassembly here. So first things first, I can put this handle back on it. I took the screws off from that before, and I really didn't need to do that. So let me run two screws for that. I think they're right here. Screws for the washers. And others for the tools. So T15, I believe it was. I'm going to hold up here. Okay, started. Started. Take that down. I didn't take this off before. Or you take it off and never take that off. And I can also put this cover back in place. Make sure this snaps together like it's supposed to. And I had it all off before. Before I even take care of this, I think I'm going to need to actually let this plastic a little bit. Just put it there. It's probably easier to get this cover completely over here, but it doesn't grab my mobile anyway. That's what I can find out. So let me get that there. Here, tools right here. There we go. There we go. Alright, so that's all back in place. Put back in place. There we go. Wanted to do that before I got any further in case I take back apart for some reason. So just a little minor marks there, but other than that, good there. So this part, last piece to put on. Holder on there. So they got these little ones. Those need to go on here and here. And then this clips on here. And these guys will come in. First, to be honest, we do that. These one first. That one. That one. Because I have this channel in here, so I'm going to put them in first and then I can slide it down. That was there, that was there. That's a lot easier to assemble. Okay, so there we go. That's that. I'm going to hand this portion. Okay, that goes up here. Yep, it's in there. And then the screws right here. Those. Long screwdriver across the desk. It's that one there, and then this one here. That in there, and then close that up. Get some water. All right, it's time to see if I'm doing everything up the right way. If I have any leaks or not. Turn the unit on. Turn that light down a little bit. Don't need it quite so bright. It's going to heat up. Just making all the normal Keurig noises. Which is good. I actually have a K-cup because, well, this was broke, so I didn't have any K-cups to put in it. But it should suck in some water. It should heat the water. And then we'll run it through a cycle and make sure it spits out a lot of hot water, like it's supposed to. Apparently I have a water leak. Yep, apparently I have a water leak, so that stinks. I'm going to figure that out. Remove this and see where it's coming from. Plug it. Put it together. Where I made a mistake. All the water spills out accidentally. Forget to attach hose or whatever they covered. See what you find down in it. So, alright, let's see. First things first. Let's pull the bottom off. Because, you know, we're going to actually, let's try to pull the back off, I guess, would be the best place to start. So, it's great, so I take some circuit board, electric problem, and I'll close the leak. Start here. There you can add an idea on this open sport, so hopefully you can turn it back to a quick look. You got exactly what it is. And the film. Where I fill the water over here on the side. Let's see if we can just confirm that. Oh, we can do the thing right now. Okay. Let's go for it. Let's do this. Let's put this here. Essentially, it's up there. This needs to try at the top here. Get this thing forward. Let's do that. All right. So recording, so we're going to back out. Back into this thing. I was out there, I wish I wasn't there. I wish I could put it back in place so I can get it off so I can get really should let this apart before I turn this back on. So I'm going to leave it apart now. I'm going to turn it on. Let's see what the back looks like. Okay. Came from. Yeah, let's turn this on. What's right here? Wait, one second. Turn it on. Make sure I plug this on switch. We can move that out of the way too. Alright, so let's put this water reservoir back on again. See if that's where the water's from. Yeah, the water is actually coming from the reservoir, so I didn't get the bottom lined up all the way. Because there's no leaks at the top here anywhere. So that's heating up just fine. So let's fix this reservoir over here. I'll show you what I think I did. It should have looked when I put this back together. But this hole right here, where's my flashlight? See that? Seal there is not really lined up. So I think it's leaking right through there. So let's see if I can fix that without a whole lot of trouble. Alright, so fortunately that means we have to take this side, take the cover back off on the bottom. We have these screws to do, so this one, pretty sure this one's well. So these are all the same. They're not the same. So the ones that are different is the inside one. The other ones that are not inside, they're actually the bulkier screws. So. I'll tell you up here. Separate something. Oh, I think my camera stopped recording. Oh, I wasn't paying attention. But I resat the piece inside there, and I have the container on. It's not leaking anymore. I'll show you what I did. Here. So this wasn't, the seal wasn't lined up in the center here where the water goes in, and so I had to cover off and realign that piece. Pull this off and show you. So there's actually a flange. If you look, it might be hard to see, but there's like a flange along the top edge here, on the outside. I didn't really have it lined up well in the center of that, and so it wasn't sealing when you put the container in. But I got it lined up now. Now, reassemble. Again. So pay really close attention. I think I you're wrong. I have to stick it. No, it's just so many different size screws. It would have saved time if they just designed the plastic consistency, didn't you? Many different screws. I'm going to actually run the 3D cycle this time before I put the cover on. Make sure that's still not leaking if it is a little bit together. And I make things like again, let that cover off. Here, put this thing back on here. Just make sure I don't have more leaks. Just out here, that I do. So that's good. Should I leak there? No. So pro tip, put it back in the container, throw it back together again, so you don't have more on the floor. For your workbench. Ready, of course. Okay. Back on. Power it back up. I'm gonna reheat again and see what happens. more than I think so. The heat cycle's almost done. So, take some cables, cut there. Through. Let's see what happens. There we go. Looks like we got hot water. Yep. Perfectly fine. Nice hot water. Alright, another water cycle there. Refilling. And back to ready for the cake. Alright, so I'm going to shut this off. What I'm going to do is put this connector here for the water tank. Hold this connector in place for the water drain lines. So it's in it. Take care of this little tool. Get in there. That's on. The power's just up. See? And that's wire in place. And then the screws once again. One last time. Alright, let's get this point. Put a hot drain back. I put power on here. Right, the last part is this damn cover again. Which is kind of a... Just after a couple on and off, so it gets a lot easier to move. And then that's it. So, with that, if you feel so inclined to spend a couple, 2-3 hours of your day, trying to fix your Keurig, it's doable. I know online we saw a lot of stuff about those capacitors, but nobody really showed how to get to them and take them out and resolder them. So hopefully this will be helpful. You can get those capacitors probably really anywhere. I just had a bunch of extra capacitors lying around, so that's where I got those ones from, because I hoard stuff like that. And appreciate your time and hope this was helpful.